So I think everyone is allowed now in the webinar. I could
Yes.
see you. Yeah, perfect. So I hope you could also see me. If there would be any problem for any of you with my screen or with my sound or with anything, basically, feel free to let us know. I only see one of you right now. So you would need to let us know either by raising your hand, by just interrupting me, or saying something in the chat. That way, me and my colleague, we will actually know. Otherwise, I'm oblivious and I'll just keep talking and ignoring you, for which I would be very sorry. All right, so thank you all very much for joining this webinar related to the EU Focus Day. I'm very happy to see that many of you were able to make it. So thank you for that. Thank you for spending your time with us in this webinar. As you can see on the slide, this focus or the focus area of this webinar will be public-private partnerships in crime prevention. And also, my name is Sarah. For those of you that might not yet know, I'm one of the research officers that work for the EUCPN Secretariat. So before starting with the actual content of the webinar, I thought I would give you a small overview of our speakers and also the focus day itself, just to make sure that you all know what we are talking about or how this webinar is related to what we do. So this will be the schedule. I'm going to give a very short introduction, basically, into the focus day itself, but also our work as EUCPN. Then I'm going to give the floor to Dominique from the CCV. I think in English, I have to say the Center for Crime Prevention and Safe Security. She will talk about the Dutch Police Quality Mark. And then our third speaker will be Marcus from the State Bureau of Criminal Investigation from Baden-Württemberg, which I'm also probably mispronouncing. Sorry for that. He will talk about their police initiatives and more specifically the bank and security funding initiative that they also have. So I already want to say thank you very much to our two speakers that are here today to share their experience and their knowledge with all of you. Before we go to our speakers, I want to give you a small insight into the Focus Day and EUCPN if you would not yet know. So the Focus Day is actually a yearly activity that EUCPN organizes. So what we try to do as the European Crime Prevention Network is that we are and we share a platform where all of the member states can exchange both information and good practices on crime prevention. So what that means is that we share papers, for example, on different topics to give people the good knowledge, the evidence-based knowledge, the evaluations, and everything they can use. But we also want to share good practices. So we organize conferences where practitioners can come together, and we are involved in operational actions within Impact, of which the Focus Day is one specific example. So the Focus Day on domestic burglary, it's actually our 6th edition already this year. So we're doing quite well. We still get very positive feedback from all of you in Europe, so we're very happy about that. This year, it'll take place on the 18th of June. And our target group will again be citizens. So the main aim will be to inform citizens on what they can do to protect their own houses and the fact that these prevention measures can be quite easy and they don't have to be expensive. So I think many of you will remember the video in which we talk about door locks, window locks, automatic outdoor lighting. So all of these measures are actually relatively cheap. And this is what we will promote to citizens during the Focus Day. But I know that you and us as well, we already start communication quite a while beforehand as well. One of the added activities of this year are these webinars and a workshop that we will organize. So we know that many of you already do a lot of outreach to the citizens, which is of course great, but we do want to help you with gaining new insights or gaining inspiration from other initiatives that we know are happening within Europe. So that is why we had this idea for this webinar on partnerships and how to set up new initiatives with many different players. But we're also going to have a workshop on how to reach the local level. So very interested in see how that will evolve. And then one final side note, for those of you that might not know yet, EUCPN has a paper on public-private partnerships in crime prevention. So if you would be interested, the QR code should lead you to our website. Feel free to go and check it out. And we thought that this would be very interesting because we actually get a lot of these questions from our network as well. People that want to set up public-private partnerships, but also any other types of partnerships. So it doesn't have to be with private entities, but these partnerships can also take place between different public entities or between the public authority and citizens within a municipality, for example. All of these types of partnerships experience very similar challenges. And that is why we wanted to have this webinar to show you two practical examples of how very different players came together to set up an initiative. So the paper focuses on these three steps: formation of a partnership, aligning the goals, making sure everyone is on the same page, building trust, then having effective working relations, so making sure everyone knows what they're doing, making sure there's continuity to reach those goals, and difficulties like sharing data, which we know is something that many people and organizations struggle with. And then finally, the paper also focusing on creating more of a partnership culture. We know that many of you are trying to do it or have to do create partnerships, but we see that in Europe, there's not always necessarily frameworks or regulations that help you to do so. So that is also something that the paper is looking into. So that was actually it from my side. I'm going to give the floor to Dominique. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And the floor is now yours, Dominique.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm just gonna quickly open my presentation for you guys. I hope this works.
Yes.
Good. Well, thank you for your short introduction already. Yeah, today I'm going to be talking to you guys, introducing you to the politiekeurmerk Veilig Wonen, or the quality mark of secure living, the police quality mark that we apply in the Netherlands. Firstly, my name is Dominique Storimans. I'm a criminologist, and since last year, I've been a consultant on high impact crimes for the Center for Criminal Prevention and Safety in the Netherlands. If you are interested in any other topics, you can always send me an email, and because we have a lot of other co-workers in different areas, that might also be interesting for you. Please save your questions for after the presentation so we can focus on the topics right now. First, I would like to give you a short introduction to say what is the quality mark, how it originated, and how it is applied. Then a little update on the key partners that are involved in this process, what their responsibilities are, what they do, the current challenges, and the future of the brand. So first of all, roughly translated, it's the police quality mark for secure living. It's basically a quality mark for houses, for buildings, for locksmiths or other companies that are involved in building and especially securing the physical barriers around a home. This is done by certifying products, but also the houses and the buildings themselves. It is mainly focused on the prevention of domestic burglaries, so not for offices, hospitals, other public buildings, but specifically for residential living spaces. So we do this by using certified products for securing doors and windows, basically any accessible area to a house, not just on the ground floor, but also other areas that are accessible on like a higher level. For example, if there's a balcony that's accessible. Other than that, we also try to create a socially safe environment, meaning that we also engage in using light fixtures, spherical mirrors in buildings, that are usually shared components. And a big part of it is educating our consultants on how they can protect these buildings and give the right consultancy to the consumers. Well, this all originated about 30 years ago in 1994, when the Dutch police had a really big priority and urgency towards domestic burglaries. We had over 120,000 burglaries each year. For a very small country with 15 million people living in it at that point, that was a huge amount. Especially it's 120,000 burglaries and I think 8 to 9 million residential houses. It's also, burglary is considered a high impact crime. So at this point, the police were like, we really need to do something about this. It's really urgent. We start handing out some information or actual things that we can do to prevent this from happening. So they started looking around, and the biggest inspiration they found in England, because they had this secured by design. It's also looks more at the architectural building and how you can use architectural aspects of building safely to prevent different things from happening, especially burglary. Basically, we took some of that knowledge from there, and then we applied it more specifically to what happened in the Netherlands, and specifically to domestic burglary, whereas secured by design is also more for non-residential buildings. In 2005, the police went, we want to focus more on our primary tasks, not so much on managing prevention programs. So that's when it was handed over to the Center for Criminal Prevention and Safety. So now it's managed by us, but the police are still involved in some ways, mostly by giving us data, informing us on new modus operandi and stuff. Well, how does it work? Basically, we use a lot of data to say, like, what are the most common ways that burglars use to come into these residential spaces, and how can we prevent that from happening? And we want to make a system that at least it takes them at least 3 minutes to come in, because the data showed that most burglars only took about 30 seconds to get into a building and only needed about 2 minutes to also get out of the building again. So how can we make those barriers way higher so it takes them more time, so they will probably think that it's too much work, I don't want to do this, let's find another house that's probably easier. About 85 to 90% of burglary is by opportunity. Mostly it's by sneaking in because somebody left the door open, somebody left the window open. But what we also found is just the quality of the hardware. So the locks, the keys, the bolts, any hardware that was on the doors, on the windows. If the quality was pretty low, it was pretty easy to, as you can see, force it open with a crowbar, screwdriver, snap a cylinder, break the entire cylinder off. If the hardware around it is not secure and it sticks out, breaking it off will make sure that you get in. Fishing, just using a hook in the letterbox and getting the handle to open it. Or one of the very popular tactics is using a bit of plastic or a credit card, so to use a credit card trick to open the doors. Most of these things could also be prevented by people actually using the lock, not just closing the door. So the thing that we also really hammer into everybody is, like, actually use your locks, because you can have really nice hardware, but if you still don't use it, it still doesn't really do anything for you. So with all of this data, this knowledge, basically we started thinking, like, what can we do to have more of a standard to give to the consumers in the Netherlands? Basically, and how can we make sure that it's certified, that and there's things in place that we can actually tested, and there's a level of standard level that we can attest it by. So we use the SKG ECOP. It's a certifying organization. They test a lot of the hardware. So locks, keys, cylinders, they test basically everything, and they will give it a certification based by stars. Usually if you see this on a lock, it means this is the highest level that you can get, the 3 stars of SKG. That means it takes at least 3 minutes to force this open, to break this open. So at least 3 minutes until a burglar will be able to get inside by itself. Now there's also 2 stars, 1 stars. There are other annotations because, as you can see, there's also lights, fixtures that can be certified. There's spy holes. They are an additional means to protect yourself from burglary, because then you know who's in front of the door. But basically most of it is about the locks, the keys, the bolts, the latches, everything that goes into the hardware. Well, just knowing what products to use, you also need to know like when to use them, how to install them, everything. So next to the training, there are also handbooks available for the safety and consultants. A safety consultant has to do a 2-day training, followed by a test. Only when they have gotten the test right, they are qualified to call themselves a safety consultant for the quality mark. Even then, when they start doing the work and they say this house is completely up to the standard, there will be an inspection from a certifying agency called Kiwa, and they will inspect to see if the house is actually up to standard. So to become a safety consultant, there's a 2-day course to qualify, and if you're a locksmith or a lock and key company, and you have a qualified safety consultant, then you can become a certified quality mark business. You can also use the logo, everything, so the consumer knows you're very trustworthy, and I know the quality standard from you. So they have to show 2 buildings up front that they have updated to the standard. If they pass the inspection and they deliver some additional paperwork, for example, a certificate of good behavior, so they don't have anybody working for them that used to be a burglar, then they can become qualified as a quality business. To keep the standard up, they have to take a refresher course every other year. So if anything has been changed, updated, there sometimes products that are not useful anymore, they are taken out. They usually get it in the refresher course, and they say, be aware. And also these are the new handbooks. The handbooks get updated. So if they ever are in doubt, they can always look it back up and be like, oh, how I have to do this again. Basically, it's a step program, but also it's more of a technical thing. If you have any questions about that, we can you can contact me about that. But I don't think that's very interesting for this part right now. So as I told you, I've told about that there are certifying organizations. We, as the Center for Criminal Prevention and Safety, we're more of an administrator, the manager of the brand. Meaning that we basically make sure that everybody is involved, that everybody does the right thing, quality control, those kind of things. The Kiwa is the independent certifier that gives credit to the brand. So they check on the businesses, on the consultancies that have been done, if they are actually correct for the quality standard. Also, they educate these consultants and building consultants to know how the whole system works, so they can start doing that. Then there's also, as I said, the SKG ICOP. They are very much for the actual products that we use, the hardware. So they give us the information, and when it's decent, when it's up to standard, we will put it in the handbook of like you can use this, but next to all of these other products. We have some trade associations that are associated with us and are very much involved, and obviously the safety consultants themselves and the building consultants. We do have some challenges. We have been doing this for 30 years now and 20 years from CCV. One of the main challenges at this point is because there are so there used to be over 120,000 burglaries a year. At this point, it's only 22,000 a year. So there's less information about it. It's less in the public eye. The media doesn't really value it as much as a really important topic anymore. The awareness is a little bit off right now. And for us, it's really hard to say, like, so what is the added value? Because the consumers at this point are like, I don't really want to go for the full safety mode because you have to do a lot of things at some, depending on the quality already of your house. But you only get a certificate if you have checked all the boxes. At this point, so we can only measure the amount of certificates we have. We cannot really measure the added value that has been given by the consultants, the building consultants, the safety consultants, by how much they have gotten these homes safer already. Because we know they have a lot of business, they're always busy. So they are making the Netherlands way safer. They are making homes way safer, but not every home is up to the standard of the quality mark. So at this point, sometimes it's harder to evaluate. And obviously, we have to stay ahead when burglars find new ways to get into the home. We have to make sure that our products are still available or useful against the protection for this. And one of the other challenges that we face that at this point, the consumer and technological landscape is changing a lot. Consumers really want to have more cameras, more video doorbells, electronic locks, which is in some ways is very good. We always say a video doorbell is a nice addition, but if you leave your door open, they can still just go in. So make sure that the basis is covered, that you still have a good lock and that you use it. Despite all these challenges, it is still a very effective tool. It has also been proven. So it's about 80 to 90% useful against preventing a burglary. However, it's still hard to get any data on the added value it has currently. And we take this very seriously. So currently we have an independent research agency that is researching the quality mark, how it's functioning at this point, and they are building a business case for different scenarios for the future of the quality mark to say, like, maybe we should evolve in a certain way that might make it more commercial, that might make it more effective, or just make it like more viable and long lasting. I hope that's clear enough for everybody for like a short introduction to what it means. And if there's any questions, I'd like to hear them.
There was already one question in the chat.
In the
I could
chat.
see from Alexandra. She asked if the refresher course is also a 2-day training and whether it's physically or online, the refresher course.
The refresher course is currently, it's more of like an afternoon from what I hear, but usually because it's still on location, usually people say it's a day course. One of the things we are trying to figure out if we can do the refresher course online, especially if the location is pretty far. So it's more accessible for more businesses.
All right, I'm gonna look at our crowd. Does anyone have a question at this point? Oh.
May I? Sarah?
Yes,
Of course.
It's a very specific question, so I don't know if it's actually good timing to give it to Dominic. Do you actually face the issue with the domestic burglaries where acid is used to enter the door? And did you find any solutions for this issue?
At this point, it's not a very common MO in the Netherlands. So what the quality mark is really focused on the most common practices that burglars apply. Acid is not really a common one, but it's probably interesting if you already encountered this probably maybe a lot. Then there are chances that it will be more common in the Netherlands in the next few years. So that's a good thing to keep into account. So maybe we could have a deeper conversation about it one time.
Yeah, the figures in Germany are actually going up, and the biggest problems were actually in Sweden, where a lot of Georgian burglars did this modus operandi, and now the numbers are going up in Germany. And the big issue is that even when you have a high quality lock, the acid is still possible to get in, to enter the house. It takes some time, like 10 or 20 minutes until the acid works. But it's a very interesting thing. And I think the modus operandi is going up in Europe in some member states.
I'll write it down. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus, for the question. I think I'm just going to give the floor to you now, because then we can continue with the second presentation. And then if people have questions, we will have time for a Q&A at the end as well. So then if you need to think about something, you can get the time. I know, Dominique, if you want to say something for your last slide.
No, I'm just trying to figure out how I can cancel the presentation.
I think on the top you can say stop sharing, and otherwise.
Yeah,
No,
I did it differently this time. Oh yeah, I got it here. Yeah. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you already for the presentation, Dominic. Marcus, are you ready to share your presentation?
Yes, I'm ready, but I actually cannot share it. Maybe you can allow me to share it?
Then I will share it for you in that case.
Okay.
Because I'm also not sure how to now quickly make sure that you could.
Mm-hmm.
Good?
Yeah, I can see it. Thank you very much. So just some words to my person. My name is Marcus Körner. As well pronounced by Sarah, I am from the State Bureau of Criminal Investigation in Stuttgart in the state of Baden-Württemberg in the southwest of Germany. We have a border with France and Switzerland. We have known the topic of domestic burglary for several years. And beside my work as an analyst in OPC, I work in the co-drivers team of Impact OPC since 2018. So we are representing Germany in Impact OPC. And so the topic domestic burglary is always a big one in a lot of member states. And this is why I am pleased to bring this possibility for private-public partnership today to you and say some words about the possibility to get very cheap loan by a bank in Germany. Can you please show the next slide, please? Yeah. So, I mean, the numbers the figures that we already heard by Dominic were even higher in relation to the little bit bigger Germany with actually 86 or 87 million inhabitants. But in the last 10 years, it was really big issue. We had around 160,000 cases in Germany, and so yeah, it was a topic that got up to the political level. And so beside the things that police has done in the past and is actually doing in this crime field, yeah, we have found out that we need to do more a different approach to work more with the private companies in this topic. One positive thing is, and I think Dominic has mentioned this as well, you have a lot of common modus operandi to enter the houses, so you know where the burglars get in the house, and so the approach is how can we get it safer to make it the barrier even higher to prevent the burglaries. And at least it's the whole thing, it's very emotional, it's very a big financial impact on the citizens. And I think when someone is in your home, it's yeah, very special crime. We have a lot of cases, as I've already mentioned. The numbers have got higher this year, the first time since the last 5 years. And yeah, I think my personal point of view, again, I can cite Dominique. She has told it. It's a big issue when the numbers are going down, because the publicity, the politics, everyone has not such a big focus on the topics. And when the figures go down, you have less information, and this is very hard when you work on this topic. So as I've already mentioned, the police in Germany try to focus on different approaches and work together with private companies, with insurances, with housing associations, craft businesses, and so on. And a special mark was born. The name in German is Keinbruch. The word Einbruch means burglary in German, and with a K in front, it's a wordplay. It means no burglary. So this was a special mark that was created together with companies, with this was the start of the cooperation between the police, together with different branches. Yeah. Next slide, please. But what does the German police do in prevention on domestic burglary? I bring some examples for you. What is done actually in Germany? The police gives advice on certified products, cost-neutral prevention guidance by local criminal police. So it's possible for every citizen to call the next police station, and then they can have special talk about what can be done in their home to prevent the domestic burglaries. Is it needed to strengthen the doors, the locks, something else? And in addition, you get information about certified products. These are the DIN norms in Germany, like the CEN norms on European level. Then, for instance, you have local police officers that check highly frequented residential areas, and they throw prevention flyers in open windows, for instance. We have a big truck in my state that is filled with information material. It drives around the whole time in these high frequented areas to inform about the risks and the possibilities that you have as a citizen to do some prevention. Next slide, please. We have some, let's say, newer social media approaches with apps. Kiez app, for instance, it's a colloquial term for neighborhood. You have websites to show where do you have suspicious activities in the neighborhood. And I really like this approach. We have bakery bags with warnings imprinted. So we use this in domestic burglary cases, but as well in CATE, crimes against the elderly, because the elderly people often don't use the newer social media things or something. So it's a very good possibility to reach them with information from police. And at last, one of the examples what the police does in prevention of domestic burglary is the cooperation with the KfW bank. And this is what I want to bring you in special today, give you more information on this topic. It's possible to get a very cheap loan by this bank. It's a state bank. And so you have a financial access to security upgrades. It's not foreseen for new homes, but when you do an upgrade in your home, you get a loan. The program is called Altersgerechtes Umbauen. It means when you get older and you want to change something in your home, you can get this loan. And the loan is up to 50,000 euro per housing unit. So I think it's a very high loan. And actually the interest rate is around 2%. And as I've already mentioned, it's in first place, it's fought for the barrier reduction in your house, but as well in the second place for security improvements. You can buy alarm systems, smart security systems, for instance, and so on. And in first place, it was fought for the barrier reduction. And after in 2014, 2015, the figures of domestic burglaries in Germany have reached the highest level. The political level decided to cover the budget for this loan. So it was possible up to this date that you apply for the loan as a citizen, and the KfW bank gives you the loan, and the KfW bank itself got money back from the federal state of Germany. So beside the loan as well, there was the possibility until last year to get a state subsidized grant, and this was 5 to 10% of the total costs. So it was not for bigger upgrades in your house, but when you wanted to change the front door, for instance, and you could apply for this grant and get 10%, up to 10% for the cost for the front door from this grant from the KfW bank. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is how you apply for this funding. So there, you can see already the strong cooperation between the police and the private sector, because first of all, you have to do a security consultation with the local criminal police, and then you have to meet minimum technical requirements for the products, and you have to have a certified company in the construction sector that does the work for you. After this, you have a cost estimation that you send to the KfW bank, then you can apply for the credit. Afterwards, the things got installed, and if you paid in advance, you can get a reimbursement by the bank. But it's not needed when you are when you have the application done very fast. You can get the money in advance as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, and the cooperation between Keinbruch and KfW Bank, you can find on the website several links. So when someone wants to apply for the loan, they already can look for specific products. They can look for tested things, and as well they have a database of installers by the police, and so it's very easy to get more information on this. On the left side of this slide, you can see a digital house. So on the website of Keinbruch, you can click on the different things like the lighting of above the front door, the windows, and so on. And then you can find possibilities to secure these specific entry points or security systems and so on. And as well, you have the link to the products and to the installers. Next slide, please. And this is just a short overview, so you can get a feeling of what has been done in the past by this loan and the grant. So I must say, in these figures, there are as well loans for the other topics as well. So when it comes to the first idea of the loan, to reduce the missing the word, you probably know what I mean. So these are the figures for the last for the years 2022 and 2023, and so you can see there are a lot of applications that were done, and the funding, as I have mentioned, was covered partly by the federal state of Germany. Yeah. Next slide, please. So let me come to my conclusions already. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, the securing the homes needs a strong collaboration between the public and the private sector. So this is what the brand Keinbruch stands for. So it's a very strong cooperation over 20 years now, and it's working very well. And as well, the loan that I have mentioned, it helps to prevent domestic burglaries. In second place, and it is accessible for everyone, and it's very affordable. So it's not as hard as it seems to get the funding, and yeah, you can get it easy and very cheap. At least I have one more point about the topic. Are there any questions?
I'm also already going to give them this slide.
Yeah, thank you very much.
If I need to see if there's anything in the chat, then I'm going to have to close your presentation. So I just want to tell everyone, if they want to contact you or if they want to have this information, do it now before I close this. And then if anyone has a question for Marcus, feel free to raise your hand or just start speaking.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Graham Cavan is my name. I am a police officer in Ireland. How I suppose it's for both of you. The quality marks that you have, like, how did that have to go to a government level to get that set up, or how, say, to try something like that in Ireland, how would be the best approach, or what would be the best approach?
Well, first off, the quality police brand that we have basically has, because we use with independent certified agencies. So QA is an independent certifier. So they are allowed to do inspections and those kind of things. And I think that's whenever you work with these kind of things, that it has to be an independent agency that is involved to do the inspections, audits, those kind of things. And also, you have to really work with ministries and for your enforcement.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks. I'm kind of jealous of what you have there in both countries. So thank
The
you.
reason why we
Happy to
invited
share.
them. Marcus, did you have anything to add?
No, but at least as I am not an expert in the field of prevention, if you have any questions about this topic, you can reach me via my contact details. If you need something more about the KfW Bank, I think they have around 80 different banks in the whole world. So if you need something like a contact detail of them, just let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Graham, for the question as well. I actually had a very similar question because I also think it's a very good example. But of course, we very often hear from people all over Europe that it's very complex when you're either in the police or in a government or an authority to have these types of partnerships, either with a certifier or a bank or a company that creates locks. Because obviously, who needs to reach out to whom and where does these qualifications come from, and you need to be objective, so you can't really just start with one person, because then why are you starting with this one company and then not any others? So I was also maybe questioning or thinking, in your situations with your marks, who initiated this partnership? Or like with the bank, did the bank start these loans by themselves and then the government jumped in to cover for it? Or who initiated? And as Graham said, if other countries would want to do the same, do you have any suggestions or tips and tricks?
Should I answer it?
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, it was the initiative was built by the KfW Bank for the mainly elderly people to do something in their home, and afterwards the police and the Ministry of Interior, they approached the bank if it's possible to put one more part to have improvement on security measures in this loan, and then it was put together in one thing. But first of all, it was completely other topic.
Yeah.
Dominique, I know.
Yes. For us, it was mostly on the initiative of the police. And what they did very well, I suppose, is to create a network with professionals that are very knowledgeable about their parts that you would need to use in a system. So basically, like the hardware, actually the locksmiths, like get a good association with those. Police, Ministry of Justice, the police themselves, obviously, with what they know of the data collection, experts, but also certifying organization. So we have the certifier for products. So they test the hardware, and then we have the certifier for the inspections and the audits. And you need to get like a bunch of people together that know like how can you make it independently enough so it sticks.
Yeah. And because you said it was created, the quality mark 30 years ago. So was that when it was actually created, or when all of this work started and it took a while before it really, lifted up?
It was actually really fast because they started in 1994, and they started, they went to look for a solution in 1994, and the quality mark started in 1995. So we just celebrated our 30-year existence, basically. But it's also something that's been built on a lot. So there's more products now, and honestly, because they kind of stole it already. We have a saying in Dutch, beter goed gejat dan slecht bedacht, meaning better steal it quite well than think of it really badly. Think it out really badly. So we used secured by design basically as a model, and then started to say, but what is the things that are for us more interesting to focus on? And then you can build onto it. And the more you use it and the more name it starts to get, the more experts you can attract.
Can I talk for a second?
Of course.
Because it's really, like, I suppose in Ireland, I was trained by the Police Crime Prevention Academy as a designing a crime officer, but it's not something that's used in Ireland. We don't have the secure by design accreditation for development. So, and there's nothing legislatively to say that developers or planners or architects have to. So it really, at the minute, a few of us are driving on that awareness piece with architects and planners, and we're getting a little bit of traction. But it's trying to squeeze what's badly needed, I suppose, for ourselves is somebody on a very elevated level to be a champion for it, because all the parts are there in Ireland. It just needs to pull the people together. Like until Brexit, I know Kate's there. Until Brexit, we can't tell somebody. They'll ask, well, who will I get to put my locks in, or who will I get to do my alarm or whatever. And we cannot tell them who to use. We're precluded from recommending products or services. So we had to tell them to go to a PSA register, private security. So we knew that they were getting a good tradesperson. And up till Brexit, we could actually point them towards the Secure by Design website. But since Brexit's come in, we've quite a lot of people vocal that we shouldn't be recommending UK products or UK standards, that we have our own EU standards to recommend. So it just makes life a little bit difficult when you can't point somebody to a good recommended or a good quality installer. So, like, if we could get a mix of what G have in Germany and Holland and what they have in the UK and Ireland, it'd make life so much easier for people. Like, and in fairness to a lot of the new housing developments, they have actually good standard, good quality windows and door sets and hardware on them. But we're still seeing things like utility boxes being made climbing aids over back walls or side walls of houses, because the utility people don't think that way. And it's only when you point it out to them to go, oh yeah, didn't think that. Or they put the bin storage in the wrong place and it's climbing aids and all these little things, you know. So in Ireland, we're really like, we're 30 or 40 years behind the rest of you, but we still are driving down our burglaries, but it's all police response and criminal investigation and intelligence led. Thanks for your time.
Marcus, you referred to some quality standards. I forgot when you said it, that the German ones were mirrored to the European ones. Don't they have a certain... Oh, was it you, Dominic? No, I think, Marcus, isn't there some sort of quality standards on a European level as well that maybe they could try?
Yeah, this must be the CEN norm. And the DIN norm in Germany is, it's quite the same. But on European, so I think they cooperate very closely, like in the other member states, and it's very important to speak the same language. And I think this is the thing on European level. When you find something out, for instance, you have a new lock that is safe for the acid, and then you have to point out what security level do you have in CEN norm or something, and then you have to tell everyone what do you need to prevent this type of modus operandi. And I think this is a very important approach on European level. We have the same perpetrators, we have the same modus operandi. Why shouldn't we use the same norms?
Agree.
I don't know if you want to add something, Graham. No, that's fine. All right. In any case, I thought it was a very interesting question that you also posed, and a very interesting subject. So it's also something that we can also try and take with us for, hey, we have someone from Impact OPC to take with us in Impact, or at least for one of our next meetings or workshops as well. So I think it's definitely an interesting question. And of course, if anyone here in the webinar or in our focus day group has a similar instance or issue or proposal, feel free to reach out either to you or through EUCPN, and we're very happy to also get you in touch with each other and try and brainstorm. And then I got one more message that there is EN 1627 for safety doors, but I'm not really sure what that means, but I see people nodding. So that's good. Yes, go ahead, Jan.
Well, EN 1627 is one of the different norms we have for European norms about burglary. So these are tested on different levels, and it goes from, it has been a couple of years since I used to tell them daily, on a daily basis, but I think that it goes from EN 1624 to EN 1630 are different norm and categorization we use for burglary. And you know, if products are good for that during a weerstandsklasse, we call them, WK 1 to 3, these are certified products.
All right. I didn't know that either. So thanks very much for the input.
That's a whole webinar for you, Sarah. is this on that alone?
I'm gonna need more expert speakers in that case. Yes, I need to do a lot more research if that's our next webinar. But thank you very much. And then I also, one last message that I've seen coming back quite a few times is that everyone is loving the bakery bags idea. So everyone is a fan apparently, and I agree. It seems like, or it sounds like a very good idea to also reach those other target groups. So that's also something that we can take with us to the future. So we've almost gone through all of our time for the webinar. So I just want to ask if anyone has a final question, a remark that they want to ask at this point. Not that I immediately see. If it would be the case that you have a question, I know that you can always reach out to us. I'm pretty sure you're also allowed to reach out to our two speakers. If need be, and you didn't catch their contact details, I do have them. So if they give their permission, I can share them with anyone who wants to.
Of course.
Good. And also this webinar has been recorded. So we will share the recording with you afterwards so you can re-listen and re-see and re-watch everything afterwards as well. So in that case, thank you all for being here, for your attention, and thank you all also very much, Marcus and Dominique, for your presentation and for sharing your views and your initiatives. It was really interesting for me, and I also think for everyone else. There you go. So thanks everyone for being here, and I wish you a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.